The disastrous consequences of the Republican-backed Bipartisan Safer Communities Act just keep adding up. This time, the Biden administration is cutting funding to schools that have hunting or archery programs in an attempt to change the culture of the next generation. Hi, I'm Ben, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. Before we get into the video, take a second to like, share, and subscribe so that we can beat the algorithm and get this message to as many gun owners as possible. Like I said, this move is sinister. Cutting funding to schools that have archery or hunting programs is clearly an attempt to stop children and teenagers from finding a passion for firearms, the outdoors, or the Second Amendment. But how is the Biden administration able to do this? Shouldn't we have any protections in place? Well, all that changed with the passing of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. If you're a frequent viewer of the show, I'm sure you've heard me say all of this before, but it really can't be understated how bad this law really is. The law passed last year through a compromise between Democrat Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut and Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas. It's already been used to allow the Biden administration to pass universal background checks via executive order and more. Now, the latest gun control comes in the form of funding cuts for school hunting and archery training programs. The Department of Education cut off this funding due to the agency's interpretation of the provision in the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act that bans taxpayer funds from being used towards training in the use of a dangerous weapon. Ironically, Senator Cornyn wrote to the Department of Education this month expressing concern over the interpretation of this provision. You know, it's really funny that he's finally concerned with the consequences of this law after he helped pass it. While the Republicans who helped introduce and pass this legislation remain confused about what's going on, Gun Owners America has been diligently warning members of Congress about the consequences of passing new gun control from the very beginning, especially something as far-reaching and ambiguous as the Cornyn-Murphy sellout. When Congress passes vague laws, it allows anti-gun administrations such as the Biden administration to step in and interpret it as they please. According to the International Hunters Education Association, hunter education courses certify over 500,000 students annually. Their website details that because of this education, hunting-related injuries have drastically decreased. Now it's obvious, the Biden administration has a vested interest in cutting these programs from the schools. Any program that could create responsible, law-abiding gun owners goes against their anti-gun agenda. This is why GOA is working so hard in Congress to introduce legislation that repeals exactly these type of anti-gun laws. We worked with Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado to introduce the Shall Not Be Infringed Act. This act specifically repeals the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, as well as other gun control measures passed by the 117th Congress. And that's just the start. We're fighting every day for your rights on Capitol Hill and throughout the courts nationwide. Also, I wanted to let you know about a new show on our YouTube channel called One in the Chamber, with our host, Tiffany. The goal is to help you become a better 2A activist. The first episode about weapons of war is up, so be sure to check it out here. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of GOA's latest fights for your rights.